So I've noticed some interesting astrological trends as of late, and I felt like it'd be cool to share. Um, so it's long been wondered, not just by me, but especially by me as well, of when the age of Aquarius is happening. You know, we've heard about it a lot, and we've seen it. I mean, in the last couple hundred years, like I explored in the astrological age of Aquarius, that um, we've seen the energy influencing humanity. We've seen it developing. I mean, ever since really the late 1700s with the American and French revolutions. I mean, revolution is a keyword for Aquarius. Humanitarianism, freedom, liberty, egalitarianism. I mean, obviously we still have a lot more work to do, but we've made huge strides over the last several centuries, even the last several decades, even the last several years, on making a lot of progress as per human issues. For example, gay marriage, beautiful. We're finally making progress on that. Fantastic. Other common sense legislation like legalization of weed and all sorts of stuff. But my focus here is, where are we right now? Where are we? Like when is so we've been in this cusp area, right, for the last couple centuries. But when are we going to finally be in this new age? For those unfamiliar with astrological ages, it takes about 2,000 years. This is just another cycle that we're going through on Earth. Because of the precession of the equinoxes, we're slowly rotating on our top about every 2,000 years. Just a little bit, not like a full rotation, I suppose. But a tiny bit of that. And it's so interesting to think that movement of the Earth in relation to everything else in our solar system, let alone our galaxy, our universe, influences us in such a huge way. It's another cycle that humanity is living through every 2,000 years, let alone every day. With the sun and the moon and Mercury and all that, of the solar system influences. And it's so interesting to think that particular angle is going to influence us in a particular way. It's fascinating, and honestly, I think that we'll have to explore our solar system, and even more so our galaxy, to really get a good picture of how this phenomenon happens. And I really hope in my lifetime I get to see more and more data coming in on this, because it's fascinating, and to see the effects of it is incredible. So, okay. What's happening right now? Where are we right now? I've seen an interesting trend happen in the outer planets in the last couple of months. So with the time that I was born, at the year I was born, 1991, Saturn was in Aquarius. Notable for a couple of reasons. Saturn is, it rules Aquarius along with Uranus, and so is one of the planets of this next age, the next 2,000 years. Of this influence on humanity on Earth for the next 2,000 years. This planet has a key role. I don't know if it must be some kind of circuit for that particular angle to other regions of space in our galaxy. Saturn and Uranus must be the circuits for that energy that's influencing us so much. But yeah, it's definitely it's a huge role to play in the next step. The next evolutionary step for humankind. So Saturn's in Aquarius, and it just came out of Saturn in Capricorn. So ground being set, and then boom, Aquarius. But we are going into the age of Aquarius, so this is, yeah. So Saturn there. The next outer planet is Uranus, which again is the other planet for the age of Aquarius, right? Uranus was in Aquarius in the last part of the 1990s. And my Uranus is in Capricorn, so just like with Saturn, with all of these placements, Capricorn is going to come first, and it's very interesting because I've seen it with friends who have Saturn in Cap, how their way of being, their way of thinking, and also that year, 1990, when humankind, whether they were being born in that year or not, they were influenced by that energy of Saturn in Cap. But in any case, we're looking specifically at years, yeah? My friends who have this energy, I very much feel them setting the ground for the next energy to take over. Just like, really my energies are setting the ground for the next energy to build on. Not so much take over, but to build on. So, in any case, my point is this. Uranus then went into Aquarius. So we went Saturn, Aquarius, 1991, 1992. Uranus and Aquarius, I'm I'm being very, I'm estimating here, but I want to say it's like 1996 to like 2002, something like that, somewhere in that range, give or take like 2 years. And I've really feel it. I'm so excited for this generation to, to come of age and to be influencing the world on an even greater scale. I mean, we're always all influencing the world simply by existing, simply by being, but when we get to certain ages, we're very much able to do it at a bigger scale, more thoughtfully, more wisely, more maturely. So I'm really excited. I really am excited to see the work that my generation is doing, Uranus and Capricorn, how we're setting the stage for this next generation to really fucking build on. And I mean, God, dude, Uranus and Aquarius, it's incredible. And for everyone else who wasn't born in that age, we also lived through it. So we're growing in that way as well. We already have lived through it. We're now Uranus and Aries, a couple of signs forward. So this is, but so interesting trend. Seeing from the age of Aquarius, it's like, okay, so we have these outer planets going. And quick digression before we get into the next outer planet, the next trend, is we definitely have, the age of Aquarius is meant to be this time of great upliftment of humanity by humanity. I mean, and of course there's spirit guides and other beings in the galaxy and whatnot focused here, but ultimately it's up to humanity to figure our shit out, and to really progress and evolve and get to the next stage of peaceful, loving, genius human living. I mean, technology, humanitarianism, understanding of life in general, let alone human life, of psychology, sociology, all human knowledge and wisdom is just growing exponentially, and it's a very beautiful thing, and we definitely, we're part of it. We are a part of it. You don't have to be inventing, the next technology. You don't have to be, inventing Apple, for example, to be part of the Aquarian age and a crucial part. I mean, all parts are crucial, and but yeah, all these ideals of peace and tolerance and humanity and upliftment of humanity and non-exploitation of freedom and of equality, we still have a long ways to go. And that's what got me thinking about, okay, so we're not in this age yet. We still, I feel it myself, I feel like we're in the last stages of the last age, which was the age of Pisces. Started around the time of Jesus. It's so fascinating, each astrological age and how humanity just responds and encapsulates those energies. If you're interested in that, I've done a video on that, just astrological age Pisces. But in any case, we're definitely, I feel like we're not quite there. And to sum up my whole point for this video before I go into more details, is I really do see with the outer planets, all of them transiting into Aquarius and then out of it, basically passing through that energy. Started with Saturn, then Uranus, and then Neptune, Pluto, which is our next. Oh, we'll get there. More details. I think it's after that we really embrace, like, we are truly in the time of Aquarius, and we'll have the cusp energies of Pisces, I'm sure, for some time and whatnot, and how long, I don't know. But I feel like around the year 2060 is really when we're in, where the energy, it's all just like, and again, every point before then is important. Every point, it's up to us to make the most of these energies. It's not like we just, okay, let's just wait until that time, we're meant to live and enjoy life, and also to learn and grow and be better human beings and make our world a better home. And that's what we're literally meant to be doing in the meantime. But it is really interesting, in my personal analysis, my perspective, that's when this age will really begin. So we live in some exciting times, full of potential, of promise, of so many changes, and so many opportunities to grow as individuals living through this time. And it's fascinating. It's very beautiful. So, yes, on to the next one. Neptune is just transiting out of Aquarius. I think it went into Pisces like at the beginning of, when was it? Like late 2012, beginning of 2013. I want to say late 2012, maybe mid 2012. I don't know, but pretty recent. Neptune takes a little while to go through the signs. I want to say it's like 15 years. I'm not really sure exactly, but it's a long time. And so now Neptune is in Pisces, which is nice for its own reason. I've done a video on that too, so if you're interested in the details in that, go for it. But we've experienced the Aquarian energy from the Neptunian perspective, right, here on Earth. We've all lived through it. Or, for those being... Okay, I guess we all haven't lived through it, but a lot of people have lived through it. That was... When was that? Last part of the 1990s? Good part of the 2000s? Yeah. And so where are we now? So we went from Saturn, first outer planet, to Uranus, really getting out there for an outer planet. Just to give some perspective, Saturn takes about 2 to 3 years to transit each sign. Uranus takes 8, and then Neptune, 14, 15. Pluto, even longer. And Pluto is in Capricorn. Interesting. Very, very interesting. This, I feel, is the last hurdle, if you will. Though, I guess you could put it as a hurdle, but the last challenge for humanity to grow. We'll always have challenges to grow. But this is the last big one from the age that we're coming from. Like I said before, Capricorn seems to be setting up Aquarius in these trends, of course, and they're right next to each other, so it makes sense how it would anyways. But especially since they're both Saturnian, and we have to solidify and get our bearings and our solid ground before we can go and reach for the stars. And that's where I see we are now, in Pluto and Capricorn. We are realizing, I've done a video on this too. Wow, I've been doing a lot of videos. So I won't regurgitate info from that video, but just a little snippet. We are learning how to be a society. We are learning how to get rid of exploitation, to minimize conflicts, and to healthily, with respect and deference to freedom and to liberties, how to have a society. We've seen some pretty horrific abuses of power, whether through special interests for the last forever, or in recent times with the NSA and the destruction of the trampling on, I guess, of civil rights by governmental entities. And we've also seen the backlash, and that's the whole point. It's not like during this time governmental entities and authoritarian type entities are going to be able to get away with their bullshit grabs for power. In fact, if anything, they may have it for a day, but it's time for the people to take the power back, to quote Rage Against the Machine. And it's more and more powerful with each day that passes. The will of the people, the connectivity of the people. Facebook and YouTube and Twitter are all names that we all recognize. They're all services that, for the vast majority of those countries that have technology, those are all services that we're connected to. And more it's growing to other countries. It's crazy. I've gotten views in all sorts of countries throughout the world. I never would have imagined I would be, reaching. But it's not saying anything about me so much as the technology, the ability for people to connect to each other. It's unprecedented in humankind, and it's really making our world a better place. So that's where we are right now. We are in the midst of the last phase, according to my perspective at least, of the age of Pisces, of the dawn, of the age of Aquarius. I have the urge to sing that song. And it's a very exciting time, and this time has so much potential for truth, for justice, for wisdom, for knowledge, for growth, really. And not just growth of the minds, but growth of the spirit. And seeing what it really means to live, and what it means to be a human, and let alone that, to be a human on Earth at this point right now. There's, a lot of challenges, and like I said, we face a lot of growing to do as per how we function as a society, as a world society. But as Pluto goes into Aquarius in, I think it's like 2022, something like that. As Pluto goes into Aquarius, we'll be seeing a huge growth, especially from our friends, that generation of Uranus in Aquarius. I'm very excited to see. But we all, everyone, we're all a crucial part, and we're all equal in this big change for humanity. And it'll be very interesting to see how life is like over the next 30 years. I definitely, myself, I've never sensed nor logically think that we are meant to have some kind of big apocalypse or like armed revolution or anything like that. In fact, I think the more we get away from that, the better. The more that we embrace a loving revolution, an inner revolution. Because you can try and change things with guns, but ideas are the real weapons now. And that's the beautiful thing, because you don't have to destroy a body to be effective with an idea, You don't have to perpetuate violence by having a peaceful revolution. In fact, you set a precedent for nonviolence. Martin Luther King, perfect example. Another perfect example of Aquarius, Mercury in Aquarius, 11 degrees. And I think his sun, was like S-U-N, is on the cusp of Aquarius. So, perfect example. But it's exciting times. It's very fun to live through, and it's very interesting. And we'll see how it goes. We're meant to enjoy it, but we're also very much meant to be a part of it and to enact positive change. So. Yeah. Namaste.